Well, it's next my pleasure to welcome up Vinay Nagpal, who is our Executive Director for the IEIC, and he is going to be giving out a Secretary's report. So let me tell you a little bit about him. He's been leading the development of digital infrastructure solutions on a global scale for the last 25 years. As the president of Interglobix and a former executive with Digital Realty, DuPont Fabros Technologies, Tata Communications, Verizon Business, UUNet, CanWest Global Communications, and Intrinsic Software. He's led global initiatives focused on the convergence of data center, subsea cables, and terrestrial fiber. Vinay is part of leadership and advisory teams for the Internet Ecosystem Innovation Committee, the QTS Richmond NAP, Northern Virginia Technology Council, Total Telecom Submarine Networks, EMA, DKICS, RTI Cables, Suboptic, PTC, RVA 757 Connect I-64 Innovation Corridor, and previously GPX India, Lynx, Nova, and the Open IX Association. Vinay has been as an MBA in Information Systems, bachelor's in Computer Science, and a higher diploma in Software Engineering. He's authored white papers, blogs, and industry publications on data centers and connectivity services. He's been a keynote speaker, panelist, and moderator at several renowned conferences around the world. And it's my pleasure to welcome Vinay Nagpal to the stage.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? That's good. That's the plan, to keep everybody awake and engaged. My name is Vinay Nagpal. I'm the Executive Director and the founding member of the Internet Ecosystem Innovation Committee, or IEIC. It takes me immense pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to this summit today. And first off, I'd like to talk about IEIC for a minute. A lot of people have asked me, what does IEIC truly mean? And when did it all come about? And what's the genesis behind it? The Internet Ecosystem Innovation Committee is an open global committee primarily with one single mission, which is diversification of the Internet. It's very evident to all of us in terms of the reliance we have in our daily lives, in our businesses, in pretty much every facet of our industry, of our lives, in terms of the Internet itself. And the goal of our committee and the people who have come together as founding members over the last 3 or so years, I think when it's been, we launched IEIC, if I remember correctly, in May of 2019. And of course, unfortunately, after that, we were hit with the global pandemic. So during the pandemic, we held several virtual events, and we kept the industry engaged with our mission, with our value proposition. And I think this is truly the first coming out of the pandemic, first event where we are getting together globally in terms of, all of you here amongst us today. So I'm very grateful to have each one of you participate. And some of you have traveled over 16 hours to get here, and I think you pretty much know who you are. We have representation today here from 6 continents with one common theme, which is diversification of the Internet, digital infrastructure, and the importance of that, which means to all of you. So first and foremost, I'd like to applaud all of you for being here, and thank you for doing that. As we move forward with IEIC, the mission of IEIC is to partner with communities like Henrico. I mean, Henrico has been absolutely a trendsetter, is what I tell John Vitukas and Anthony when it comes to public-private partnership. And from the time I have been personally associated, it's been an honor for me to work with Anthony and his amazing team and John Vitukas in terms of the value proposition that they see in that public-private partnership. And our mission going forward is to facilitate creation of more Internet nexus points through partnerships with local communities, academia, and businesses. And if you look at the IEIC board, and many of the board members are here today, our plan was not just to look at from a technology perspective in terms of data centers, subsea, terrestrial fiber, Internet exchange points, software-defined networks, content distribution networks. Of course, all of these members are extremely important to the underlying infrastructure. But we went out to the enterprises, to the end users, in terms of banking, healthcare, finance, academia, all the industries, and that's where the support we got in terms of the C-level executives, where they see that in order for them to run their business successfully, you need that underlying infrastructure. You need more resiliency. You need more diversification. And that's where, in a common platform, we have all come together and what we are witnessing today. When it comes to economic development and business success, that requires a cross-functional group of business leaders to drive these initiatives, assist with strategic planning, and that's what we are seeing happening. The internet itself requires networks to exchange traffic, which is the peering point, and a lot of times people who don't have that background, with all due respect, have asked me about the value proposition of peering and what is so important about it. And of course, the rest of the day we'll hear a lot about peering, and there's a special event planned later as well. But it's essentially different networks to connect with each other. That's how really the internet works. So that's extremely, extremely important in terms of what we are actually launching here today as the DKIX platform, which is world's leading data center neutral, carrier neutral internet exchange point peering platform, which does go beyond peering with other services as well, like cloud exchange and end user user groups as well for the enterprises. Since the advent of the internet, these peering points have largely been concentrated in a relatively small number of buildings. Amongst the audience, I would like to point out Hunter Newby, who's here. Hunter and I have had these conversations over, I can say now, over decades, where we are looking at these buildings, which would be become the concentration of network carriers, unfortunately without proper redundancies when it comes to the delivery of power, without sophisticated cross-connect platforms. And that's where, of course, you can't go and change that overnight. You can't start, disrupting the internet. But that's where these new nexus points come into play and the value proposition of that in terms of what we are seeing happen here in Henrico. And as we look at the challenge in terms of what lies ahead, these new applications are developed, the demand for bandwidth continues to grow at an unprecedented pace. When people talk to me about applications, right, when you look at artificial intelligence, you look at IoT, you look at connected cities, at the end of the day, every application or use case that we have today is relying on that infrastructure. And that's going to continue to happen. There'll be a lot more use cases, some that we can't even fathom today, because what we are thinking is based on what our thought process is today, how we can how we have the vision for the future. But there'll be a lot more application, a lot more use cases, and that infrastructure becomes key.